Dear Manfred, Ursula, Roberta, dear friends, it is really great to have the opportunity to meet here today, not least since I myself missed our last Congress in Bucharest just a year ago. I did, though, have a pretty good excuse. I was in DC, formally handing over the final documents taking Sweden into NATO. So just allow me once again to say thank you all for a lot of helpful support during this accession process. Well, right now the world is changing in front of our eyes, and Europe is no exception. In challenging times, it is important that we gather. We, as the EPP, we, as Europe, we, as the countries in the democratic world committed to a rules-based order. For 3 years now, Ukraine has been on our minds. For 3 months now, the transatlantic ties have also been on our minds. And the reason for this is as obvious as it is concerning. We do live in an increasingly complicated world. How the war in Ukraine ends will impact our joint European security for generations to come. And the rules-based order that has been so rewarding, but also taken so much for granted since the Second World War, now stands on pretty shaky ground. Decades-old bonds with friends and allies are being questioned suddenly. Economic growth is mostly driven, as Petri told us, by China and by the US. International trade is under severe pressure right now. Technology did beat politics, but geopolitics does beat everything else. Because of this enormous uncertainty, many now like to rule out Europe. I strongly disagree. Our continent is obviously not perfect, but we do have agency. Together, we decide over European future. It is time for us to not only see this request for a bigger European responsibility, but also to take it. Currently, EPP parties, our family, we run governments in more than half of the EU member states. The EPP group is by far the biggest group in the European Parliament, strengthened by our success in last year's elections. That also gives us a unique responsibility to lead. I would like us to do so by building on 3 pretty simple pillars. First, we immediately need to substantially increase our support for Ukraine. Their freedom is at stake, but so is also ours. A bad peace would encourage President Putin to come back for more. A bad peace would be a recipe for another assault. The alternative must be peace through strength. Second, peace through strength must apply to all of us, to all European democracies. That means boosting our own defense, taking bigger responsibility for our own security. We should do it jointly in the EU, most of us also in NATO, but not least as individual member states. 5 weeks ago, the Swedish government announced a plan to reach a new NATO target at approximately 3.5% of GDP in just a few years' time. And if the new target, decided in The Hague this summer, goes beyond, we will reach it anyway. I have seen several colleagues taking similar steps right now, vastly expanding their own national defense. That is good. We must all commit to doing more. Defense is a collective good. We stand stronger together. Third, increasing European competitiveness. That is a long overdue effort. We need more growth to be able to sustainably finance security, to finance green transition, to finance social welfare on our continent. And to be able to achieve all this, we have to start deliver on the promise of a better tomorrow, which leads us to the conclusion that economic growth is not a nice to have, but it is a must have. This requires joint work on EU level. I am happy to see the big efforts being made by the Commission under Ursula's leadership. To really become more competitive, we need to stay on course. We need to enhance our commitments. We must cut red tape and make it easier to do business in Europe. And as everybody in here knows, if you have tried, talking about cutting red tape is too easy. Actually doing it is pretty hard. We should make even greater use of our biggest common asset, the single market. Expand it, deepen it, complete it. We need more free trade agreements with more global partners. And as leaders in the member states, we have a responsibility to commit also to national reforms. We cannot lean back and expect the EU to do the job for us. Friends, finally, our continent, we have faced wars, crises, and big problems before. But we have been able to come out stronger on the other side. We know that this is possible, but we also know that nothing is for free. Nothing happens overnight. It requires a lot of hard work. That work has already started, but most of it remains to be done. So let us seize the moment, face the challenge, and lay the foundation of a new European renaissance. Thank you so much. Thank you.